Rick Pitino might be 68 years old, but he's showing no signs of retiring anytime soon. And Pitino still seems to have that magic touch. The controversial yet legendary coach is back in the NCAA men's basketball tournament, and this time it's with local Iona College. The Gales came into the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference tourney as the number 9 seed and beat Quinnipiac, Siena, Niagara, and Fairfield on their way to winning the conference title. It's the 5th different team Pitino has taken to March Madness. He took Boston University dancing in 1983, Providence in 87, Kentucky several times in the 90s, and Louisville in the 2000s and 2010s. We caught up with Coach on going dancing in a difficult campaign.
My players are elated. It was a tough grind this year, going through 4 COVID pauses and missing about 55, 60 days of practice. But our players handled that adversity with class, and they were very resourceful and played 4 tough games and came away with the victory, and I'm proud of them.
Feels like yesterday our BronxNet cameras were capturing Pitino winning the Big East. It also feels like yesterday when Patrick Ewing was king of the Mecca of hoops. Well, history certainly seems to have a way of repeating itself. Ewing is king again, and Georgetown is champion of the Big East again too, doing so with the greatest Hoya of them all leading the way. Ewing is taking Georgetown back to March Madness for the first time since 2015 after the 8th-seeded Hoyas completed a surprising run to a Big East crown Saturday night with a stunning 73-48 rout of number 17 Creighton. It happens on the 49th anniversary of the day Georgetown hires the late, great John Thompson, the late Hall of Fame coach who transformed the program into a national power, and one of the most iconic in college basketball history was Ewing's coach. Now it's Ewing leading the way as mentor. The Hoyas win their record 8th Big East tournament title and first since 2007. Congrats to the big fella. Nice to see him cut down the nets at Madison Square Garden. We shift gears to the gridiron for a couple of updates on the locals. Big Blue is still counting on Bronx boy Saquon Barkley returning from his torn ACL at full strength for the 2021 season. But their first big addition of free agency is a running back who can serve as his backup. Devontae Booker, most recently of the Las Vegas Raiders, agrees to a 2-year deal with the Giants that could be worth up to $6 million. Booker will turn 29 in May. He began his career with the Denver Broncos and has rushed for 1,526 yards and 9 touchdowns in his 5 NFL seasons. He also caught 122 passes for 956 yards and a touchdown and has been a contributor on special teams. Nice add for the G-Men. Twice franchise defensive lineman Leonard Williams reaches an agreement on a 3-year, $63 million deal with the Giants that includes $45 million fully guaranteed. He's back, but Kevin Zeitler is gone. Waived by the Giants last week, the guard inks a 3-year, $22 million deal with the Baltimore Ravens on Monday. He was one of several former Giants who cashed in around the league. After staying quiet through this offseason, the Jets made a pair of significant additions. The team agrees to terms with wide receiver Corey Davis, formerly of the Tennessee Titans, and edge rusher Carl Lawson, formerly of the Cincinnati Bengals. Both players should be upgrades at key positions of need for the Jets. The team needed to upgrade its group of pass catchers. Gangrene also needed improvements to the pass rush. The edge has been a chronic need for over a decade. Lawson should very much help there. Bobby C's matchup of the week goes to the Brooklyn Nets and New York Knicks. The two met Monday night in a thriller. A game-deciding blown call led to a furious Knicks star being escorted off the court Monday night. In the final seconds, Julius Randle receives the ball down 3 points with 5.7 seconds left. Randle jumps to take a three-pointer and is contested by Kyrie Irving, but he held on to the ball and landed. At first glance, it was a textbook up and down travel. A replay, however, shows Irving had actually hit the ball as Randle went up to shoot. When you're on a hot streak, you win games in a lot of different ways. And so Monday's game wasn't pretty, but the Nets got the job done and won their 13th in the last 14th and 5th in a row. A 117-112 loss may have been a moral victory for the Knicks, but it went in the win column for the Nets. James Harden and Irving combined for 55 points. Here's Kyrie on the rivalry with the Knicks.
I think as players, we feel it naturally. But obviously being from here, it's a little bit of a different sentiment. because I got to go home and actually be around Knicks and Nets fans. It's my family. So it's basketball, it's competition. It's a world sport. So it's just nothing but respect. But obviously you want to come out here and just have fun going against New York Knicks. They've been playing well all season. So well-coached team, and just appreciate the opportunity.
Nets head coach Steve Nash is pleased with the dub, but sees plenty of room for improvement for his team.
They cut the deficit at halftime. That can come back to bite you, but it didn't. So we got it done in the end, and we'll have to just learn from it, take a look at a few of the scenarios, and get better.
On the baseball diamond, the Yankees and Mets are fine-tuning in mid-March, and that means trying some new things like Gio Urshela at shortstop and Brett Gardner in right field. Here's more with the two Yankee stars.
Obviously, need to be comfortable over there. Need to get some reps over there, and I feel like I could just roll out of bed and play center or left, and right field obviously is something that I haven't done a whole lot of. So just try to get some balls off the bat over there in BP. Obviously, I played over there the other day. I think I'm playing right field again tomorrow. So just to be comfortable, just in case.
Well, whenever Booney want me to use, I'll be there playing shortstop. I played second base in the past before, first base a couple times. So I'll be ready to play any position when they need me, and I'll be there playing.
As for the Mets, star shortstop Francisco Lindor belts his first home run this spring in orange or blue and is so pumped to do it in games that actually matter for the Amazons.
We have good hitters, young hitters that continue to evolve, continue to get better on a daily basis. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited for what the year has ahead of us. I know the guys are working extremely hard and they're going to have an outstanding season. I'm looking forward to being a part of something good they had going on here.
Meanwhile, staff ace Jacob deGrom continues to be masterful on the hill. He talks about his approach in spring training and gearing up for the upcoming season.
Happy to go out there and get 4 innings. I actually went down and threw 15 more in the bullpen to get that pitch count up. I think I got 2 left before we start the season, so that's the goal. And, you kind of expect that the first time you run out there for 4 times. You haven't done it in a while, so you got to get the pitch count up. And then I felt like that last inning, my front side was getting up a little bit. So when I went down in the bullpen, I worked on that and just trying to, throw the ball through the target.
Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for a star who is changing the game between and outside the lines. LeBron James is 36 years old and now in his 18th season in the National Basketball Association. He is already having arguably the greatest NBA season on the floor for a player in year number 18. But for me, it's what LeBron has done away from basketball and off the court, especially during 2020 in regards to social injustice and the pandemic, and more recently, how he is changing the game for athletes of color. Last week on the show, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Ali Frazier 1 at Madison Square Garden. To me, Muhammad Ali is the last athlete to truly have that kind of impact inside the sport and outside of it. He changed boxing and sports forever. It has taken decades to find Ali's heir apparent, but I believe we have in LeBron James. I wasn't the least surprised this week with the announcement that James is becoming a part owner in the Boston Red Sox. Ironically, the last team in the major leagues to integrate. The Los Angeles Lakers forward also says he wants to own an NBA franchise after taking a stake in Boston-based Fenway Sports Group, FSG. LeBron says, open quote, "I got so much to give to the game. I know what it takes to win at this level. I know talent, and I also know how to run a business as well. So that's my goal. My goal is to own an NBA franchise, and it'll be sooner than later. For me and my partner Maverick Carter to be the first 2 black men to be a part of that ownership group in the history of that franchise, I think it's pretty damn cool. Yes, it is, LeBron. Kudos to you for elevating the game on the hardwood and off of it too. You are a shining example for athletes today and in the future to aspire to be." Speaking of legends, tune in Monday morning for a closer look at one of the greatest athletes to ever come from the BX and how his legend is being restored thanks to one grassroots organization here in the borough. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.